What was Aiste?
General about me, I was always very active. I love traveling. I lived in different countries. I was out of Lithuania for more than 10 years. So just traveling around and living in different countries, working, studying at the same time, meeting new people, opening a business, running them, closing them down. Okay, so I was diagnosed in Dubai, and what happened was that I felt the symptoms it was really bad. So I waited until the last day basically because I had to pay everything cash and it was really expensive. I had to have around 3,000 euros in cash just to pay for the test, consultation, and for the medication.
Yeah.
In 2018, and it was really bad. He was just going from one hospital in the city we were actually living in, Chole. He was moved to Vilnius, and he was in ICU. He was still active for 3 weeks. Then it worsened. He was put into induced coma and put on ECMO. And it's my dad. I didn't care about anything. The first thing, I came back home. I put everything, plans on hold, everything. Even though I had I had a job, I had apartment, I had a car in Dubai, everything, And I'm just okay, I need time off because there's things happening in my family, and I need to be there. And when I was here in Lithuania, it didn't take long. He was in the hospital that I was treated, where my cardiologist was since the beginning. And so basically I admitted myself to the hospital, to the emergency, and here I am right now.
After losing your dad, the burial and everything, when did you start going back to rehab, and how was the rehab? When did you start feeling better during the rehab process?
I would say after good 6 months.
So if you guys were to advise, to suggest a book, one book or two books, what would those be?
So I have a book from Canada, which was sent because I mentioned I have a family from Canada. And this book was sent to my dad. And it says, How to Be Happy No Matter What Happens, by Dr. Joe Hall.
Great. Show, yeah.
This book is 100 years old.
Everyone, welcome. We're talking about living with a heart disease today, and we have a great guest from Northern Europe, which I didn't know it was Northern Europe. I used to mix it up. Lithuania, and her name is, how do you pronounce your name properly? Is Aiste?
Aiste.
Aiste.
Not faulty Aiste. That's the easiest way to pronounce my name. So you just call me Aiste. That's it.
We were very close. Melanie what was Melanie saying?
Aiste.
Yeah,
so I asked.
We were arguing and nobody knew how to say it properly. So I'm glad you corrected. So we have Aiste today from Lithuania, and in her own world, she's out to help people, help others. But she's a great lady who travel a lot, over 40 countries, and been anywhere from Dubai, Toronto, London, and then of course back home in Lithuania. Traveling is obviously a passion, and then she likes understanding people. She likes culture, but she's also living with the LVAD, like myself and like Melanie, and she's waiting for the heart transplant. But despite everything that's going on, you can check by social media feed. She's always positive, great stories, and takes time to educate us. And she's a practitioner of, she's a healer herself, so she has some experience there. She's learning, she's studying, she's working, a lot of things going on, and pretty much by yourself. So, welcome to Aiste, and I'd like to probably start by giving asking her herself to tell us who is Aiste and what's how are you doing today, and what was Aiste. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. You actually said everything, I think there's much more, of course, to talk about the heart disease wise. In general, about me, I think you said the main things. I was always very active. I love traveling. I lived in the different countries. I was out of Lithuania for more than 10 years. So just traveling around and living in different countries, working, studying at the same time, meeting new people, um, opening a business, running them, closing down, falling down, losing money, like everything. I experienced so much. And, now I'm back home for nearly 3 years. And so my heart journey started 5 years ago, and I was okay since then because I had a medication treatment, but 2.5 years ago it actually worsened, and no other treatments were possible for me. So basically my doctors just straight away told me, it's like, okay, you're dying, that's it. And I was just like, what? But my dad was in the hospital at the same time. So I think, and actually my family thinks, that the situation with my dad could actually worsen my situation, my personal health situation with heart. And one day when I was literally going to visit him, I just admitted myself to the emergency. And when I admitted myself to the emergency, they didn't let me go. It's like, you can't even walk.
Wow.
That's what they told me. It's like, oh, but okay, so it's like visiting hours in ICU, because my dad was in ICU at that time. It's like, it's visiting hours, maybe I can go and visit my dad. And the doctors would tell me from the unit where I was admitted, it's like, you can't, just don't walk anywhere, because anytime, we have no idea what can happen. So that was the time when I actually learned that I need a heart transplant. And because the donor was not available at that time, and I spent around 3 months in a hospital. So I was kind of offered an opportunity to wait for the transplant outside the hospital, because I don't know how the hospital life is in United States or in UK. Like I've seen a post of a lot of people and it looks amazing. But in Lithuania, the hospital life is not really like as fun as like I know it's not fun anywhere, but it's just really bad. In terms of like people who work in a hospital are amazing. Like the specialty, they know things, but surroundings, the food, like everything is just like no. And obviously I agreed to go forward with the transplant, and I agreed for LVAD. And I got that surgery, which actually was kind of scary, because that was the first surgery which I had ever in my life. And I was, how old I was? I was like 32 or something. So it was a shock for me, because I haven't even been admitted to the hospital in my life.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything how everything works. I remember going to the heart cath before the LVAD surgery, and I was freaking so much. You can't, like, I nearly passed out, because I was scared of I didn't know what it is, going for the first time, and I'm just like, no. So it was crazy, and but everything was fine. I survived. I had a complication of stroke, of a brain stroke, and that I say to everyone, just if you don't believe in miracles, you should hear my story, because the things that happened to me, like in details, it's crazy. like I don't even say in conversations like that because it would take a lot of time. So that's why I write the book,
Yeah.
because I'm writing the book, because then I can just pinpoint all the details which has happened during this journey since I got my LVAD.
This is an
And yes,
amazing story.
and now we're living in pandemic.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. It's so I don't usually ask anybody this age, even ladies, but like how old are you now?
I'm gonna be 35 next month.
The first time you knew something was wrong was like when you were 30 years old, more or less.
2 months before my 30th birthday.
Oh wow, that was a good gift. Wow.
It was crazy. Like everything at that time before my 30th birthday was crazy because I had a job. I was living in Dubai. My
What was
job.
the job? What was the job?
So I was basically an executive assistant and HR director for the new project, which was opening a nightclub in Meydan Hotel, which is basically a horse race. It's a horse race track with a hotel and a beach club and a nightclub and the restaurants and etc. So it's like a full like package of
Complex.
complex. Yeah, exactly. So we were opening a nightclub, and obviously there was a lot of work because we were doing that from the scratch, and I was basically the right hand for my boss. And yeah, so it happened really strangely because I didn't had any documentation on time sorted, because in Dubai when you live you have to have your visa,
Yeah,
because you actually literally you're not allowed to work if you don't have a visa.
yeah.
So you have to have a visa, you have to have a medical insurance, which the company itself provides to
Mhm.
the for the employees, right? And yeah, so it was crazy because I didn't have any of those. I was just getting paid cash.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no tax, no nothing. So I was just I was getting paid. But then in the past couple of months, since because I was diagnosed in March in 2016, from January, I literally the company, not the company, but my boss, literally he got millions of dollars, not only dollars, but like dirhams,
Yeah.
the UAE currency. He had millions of loans, and one day he just disappeared.
Oh my God.
So I hired, because I was responsible for HR and I was his right hand. I recruited around 60 people, and already around 8 of the managers, the main managers, were in place in the office in Dubai at that time.
Yes.
So imagine, if my boss is not there, who's responsible? Like, everybody comes to me.
Yeah.
I already had around 50 people waiting from abroad, because uh, we employed most of the staff from abroad. And they were like literally left their jobs and be like, okay, so I'm going to Dubai like next day, or maybe next week or next month. And everybody is contacting me. It's like, when we are coming, when we're gonna have the tickets. We got the accommodation for the all the staff. Uh, the guys asking for the paychecks for the rent. Like, it's crazy. It was so
That's a
crazy,
lot of
and the
pressure.
guy just disappeared. And I have no insurance. This is when I started feeling the symptoms. I was short of breath. I couldn't sleep. I wasn't obviously. It was a lot of stress. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but as well, I wanted to go to check to the doctors as well. And I would call my boss and be like, okay, so when I'm going to get the insurance, can I get like some advance cash to get paid? Because if I pay direct, and I think that's in the US, if I pay direct without any insurance, because in Lithuania we have the social security, right?
Hmm.
So everything is basically, you pay tax, like it's I think 21% or something. You pay tax, and then if you have a problem, the government covers
You
it.
cover. Yeah.
So which is good. Over there I had to pay everything cash. Even in Lithuania there were a couple of times where I had to pay cash, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when after it took me only like a couple of months, more than a couple of months, and I couldn't even breathe, I couldn't even sleep. I was sleeping while I was sitting down for the last 2 days. And I used to have this skip beat. which I was like, what is it? I
You
don't even know.
noticed it?
I don't even know how to explain. It's like, but it's like, you know, when my heart is working, it was working
It,
with it beats,
it
it
was
beats, and then it stops.
yeah.
So like,
They call it a galloping heart rhythm. So it's like instead of going rhythm, it's like a horse rhythm. Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
So and then my cardiologist told me it's like you call it a skip beat. I was like, oh, okay. And then, for example, 1 month in with the symptoms, I would lay down because I lay flat all the time.
Mm.
I would lay down and take a deep breath, and all I could hear is the small bubbles exploding in my chest. And I would be like, oh, this is so cool. Take a deep breath, and it would like, bloop, 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 and then take it. And I was like, but that's not good.
It's not normal.
I mean, like, what's going on? Maybe next day will be okay. So because I was coughing a lot, that was the first symptom I felt. I was coughing a lot, dry cough, and I'm not the person who coughs.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't even sick for the past 7 years, which I lived in Dubai. Well, the last 7 years and until the diagnosis. So I never had a fever. I never took any antibiotics. So you know, I was like, I was pretty healthy, and I was exercising, running, and etc. And yeah, I forgot what I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think you touch on a few things that are really great, significant. I think because you were going under a lot of stress and your body is responding, but it seems like you were very in tune with your body, so you knew all the small changes. So the signs weren't there, but you didn't know what the signs meant, and then um, and then you go from that to being um, diagnosed with a condition. So I assume you were diagnosed in Dubai, and what was the first step like that, and how do you go from Dubai to Lithuania? What was happening then, and yeah, so between those 2 years, what went on?
Oh my God. So, which years? Because when, okay, so I was diagnosed in Dubai, and what happened was that I felt the symptoms like really, it was really bad. Um, so I waited like until the last day basically because I had to pay everything cash and it was really expensive. I have to have like around 3,000 euros in cash just to pay for the test consultation and for the medication. I was going already to the GPs during these 3 months until the diagnosis. I was going there and I would tell us, that, you know, I have a bloated tummy, you know, I'm like, I feel a shortness of breath and I'm coughing. And I would get the treatments only for the symptoms. And then they, like the doctors would tell me, it's like, okay, take it. If it doesn't go away within 10 days, you know, come back, we'll give you another medication. And I would be like, oh, okay. And because I'm like into quite the healthy living, I used to drink the ginger lemon honey tea,
Yeah,
and it would actually ease up the cough for like a day or two, but then after that it will be all the same again.
yeah,
And until the point that I literally couldn't bear of doing anything. I was out. I don't even remember. I remember sitting in bed because I was sleeping while I was sitting with the pillows stuck.
so that's because you couldn't lie down.
Exactly, I couldn't breathe, and even if I sit down, and I remember that happened exactly the same before the LVAD, before going to the hospitals, the LVAD. So basically, I sit down with a straight back, and what I would do because I'm short of breath, I would always go like this, just try to go up and up
Yeah,
and up because I'm suffocating. There's no space in the lungs to take a deep breath. And my thinking as, you know, human being of it, okay, I'm gonna go up as much as I can because then I could breathe, you know. No, it didn't happen.
yeah.
So yeah, I went to the hospital. Then they gave me a lot of medication. Obviously, I didn't have any insurance and the cash money. You know, I didn't want to spend the whole like. They could admit me to the hospital, but that would cost me like a lot,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot, and I didn't want that. So they gave me the medication to calm because my heart was. I fell asleep and I woke up with 140 beat per minute, and yeah, and it didn't go down. Like, I called the hospital and they told me, it's like, just take a deep breath, calm down. I was like, I'm calm, don't worry. And I went to the hospital. I actually wanted to drive to the hospital. And the nurse at the hospital, at the emergency, said, just take a taxi, don't drive yourself. I'd be like, okay, cool. So I went to the hospital and they attached me with this machine.
Yeah.
And because my heart rate was like 140, the machine was like beep, 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 beep. And all I could, I'm calm, I'm just laying down and I have no idea what's going on. All I can feel, my heart was like this.
Yeah.
And the nurses were running crazy and be like, just calm down, just calm down. Be like, I'm calm, it's fine. So basically, because the cardiologist wasn't available and I went to the hospital at 3 a.m. because he wasn't available, the doctor who was there at that time in the emergency, he gave me the medication, the double dose to calm my heart. And he registered first thing next day to the cardiologist. And I came back home, I slept for a little bit. And then I took myself to the cardiologist, to his clinic, because my cardiologist in Dubai has his own clinic and works in the hospital at the same time. So I went directly to him and we spent around 3 hours together, or 2 to 3 hours. He actually looked at me, he asked a lot of questions. We just had that time. He saw me, it's like I didn't look like I had any symptoms of heart failure. My ankles even went swollen. I had to put the weight on around 10 kg, but my ankles weren't swollen.
Yeah.
So he explained me everything, and I heard the diagnosis of heart failure, and then he gave me the rash medication treatment. Basically, I was taking the medication where people after the heart attack or they used to take, like the older, like over 65 and etc. So it was a roller. The first week was, oh my god, like I didn't need, I think I was like, my body was on the ground, but my soul was like going crazy.
Yeah.
I lost all the liquids with the water pill in the first 4 days. I lost around 12 kg. That was only liquid. And my belly was like, like when I was like pregnant around like 5 months, it was massive belly. But I didn't eat anything because I had a complication with the tummy and with all those things, the digestive system and etc.
That's 20, almost 30 pounds. That's a lot.
I don't know how much in pounds, but yeah, I know in kg. So
Yeah.
it is a lot, because you could see like one day I was like this, and then after 2 days I already was bones and
So how did you feel after that? Like, did that help you a little bit? Did the system go away right there, or what? How did that treatment help?
After 1 week, I could actually lay down and sleep properly. And
Yeah.
I literally, because I had my cardiologist on my WhatsApp, he let me go because again he would admit me because I had no insurance. He let me go and he gave me the number and be like, okay, go home, but if you feel something is wrong, this is my number, message me if you feel something, if you say something is wrong, we're gonna sort out everything. Thank god he's an amazing cardiologist, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could sleep after 1 week. I wasn't short of breath. My blood pressure dropped, of course, because of the water pill, and I was feeling dizzy, and I would need to go to like have a nap every hour for like at least 10 minutes or something, because it was just so many changes happening in a short of time, because I had such a cocktail of medication and my body was like, oh my god, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But then
But were you trying to work at the same time? Were you trying to stay active?
no.
Or you were just resting?
Okay, so after like 1 month, I was just resting and I was thinking what to do, because at that time I was engaged and we weren't married. So we were living in Dubai, and my boss disappeared, and everyone is still calling me, asking me where the money is. So I just cut the phone down. And I was thinking what's going to happen, because our relationship was really like was wiggly.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, so I didn't know what's gonna happen. I couldn't work at that time because I was really too weak to work, too weak to do anything. But after 1 month, there was an event, just a food festival,
Yeah.
Sunday food festival. So I was like, okay, me and my friend, let's go, just, have a round, have some tasty food. And my restaurant, which I worked previously, had a stand there. So we always go. I know the people, I know the managers. We get the food. It's just nice time to spend the day.
Yeah.
So I met my friend, which I haven't seen in this month. She looked at me. She was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm all right." She knew that I was going through the process of problems with my heart health,
Yeah.
but she didn't know what it is and how it feels and what I'm going through. So I went to this festival. I sat down because I felt like weak. And after 10 minutes, I'm just like, I need to go home. Then because I thought like, okay, I'm healthy now, I can go back and return to normal life. And when I went into public between a lot of people, the heat,
Yeah.
even though it was already like 5 p.m., but it was still hot. It's Dubai, come on.
It's Dubai.
Yeah, as a lot of food smell, around, just like different. And I was just like, no way I can do that. Like, I'm so far from being okay. I took a taxi. I got my ex-fiance, put me in a taxi, go home, just go to bed and do nothing. And then I realized that, that's not going to be good. And then on my birthday in May, I actually felt all right. So I was able to return back a little bit slowly to the normal life. And my symptoms were like stabilized. They didn't go on and off. But my relationship then went down the road. We broke up. And because we broke up and I couldn't work at the same time, and I couldn't live from my savings in Dubai, it's crazy. And me and my dad, we always had like amazing relationship. So when I spoke to my dad, be like, okay, well, this is what I'm going through, and etc. This is the heart, and my work is fucked up. Sorry for that, but
No,
like,
it's an adult space.
it's just everything were going down, and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So my dad told me this. I'd be like, listen, he was like that serious. Listen, it's either you come back home, pack your bags and come back home, or I'm gonna come to pick you up. So we're gonna come back home together.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, you don't need to fly like only for me for like 8 hours, just to pick me up. It's like, I'm a grown ass woman, I can come back. And basically, I bought a ticket, I packed my bags, and I flew home. And while I was in Dubai, I already checked with another doctor who was in Beirut, the best cardiologist in Beirut. I didn't go there myself. My documents were basically sent there because I had all the echo videos and blood work, everything. So he confirmed the treatment and confirmed the diagnosis. And my dad was like, he always believed, and he had a good cardiologist in Vilnius, the same clinic where I'm going to right now. It's just different cardiologist. And he just promised, I'm going to take you there. I'm going to introduce you. I want to see if this is the same diagnosis which they told you in Dubai. Because he kind of doubted about my diagnosis in Dubai. So he wanted like to take his daughter to the doctors and be like, tell me what's wrong with her.
Yeah,
And
second opinions. Yeah.
yeah, so obviously I got the work, like I got into, because I was really down because I lost everything basically. So I had to find the positivity and strength to come back to life and want something, because at that point I didn't want anything. Like, I'm 30 years old and my life just went down the road.
Yeah.
Like, how this is possible? And it was possible. So thank God to my dad, because he would always like push me and give me the books to read and be like, okay, let's go there. Okay, let's go there. And they were like having a vacation to Italy a couple months later, and they were like, no, I can't pay for it, so I'm not gonna go. Like from because I'm so short of money. Like it was crazy how much money I had to pay in Dubai and leave and everything. And he was like, don't worry, I'm gonna take you together. So he was like literally like trying to force not to force myself, but trying to put that positivity and to find the happiness again in life. And that's very important, to be honest. And then again, I got better. My treatment was okay. I was stable. I literally was exercising. I returned to normal activities when I was on medication treatment. Then again, I started traveling. Green light.
Back to the old habits.
Traveling, going crazy, enjoying life with a different perspective. And then, oh my God, it's too much to say. And then, yeah. I don't know where to start or where to finish anyway. So then in a short way that for 10 years, for the more than now 15 years, I always wanted to move to Toronto, to live to Toronto. And I was applying.
Why do you like Toronto so much?
I don't know. Because my family lives there, like my uncle and nieces and stuff. But I was there.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You just love it.
I just love it. Like it's so home-like, but not in Europe.
Yeah.
And it's massive, and it's so like I wanted to try,
Yeah.
So I was trying to apply for the visa. And for 10 years or more than 10 years, I didn't get the visa. And in 2018, in January, after the application and everything, I get the message from the government in Canada saying you got the visa. And I was like, and at that time I was in Dubai.
Yeah.
So I had my goals. I wanted to work in a company, I wanted to travel, and now I got the visa, and I was like, amazing. 2019, I will go I plan to move to Toronto for good. And then it happened so that my dad got into hospital in summer, in May.
Yeah.
In 2018, and it was really bad. He was just going from one hospital in the city we were actually living in, Cholet. He was moved to Vilnius, and he was in ICU. He was still active for like 3 weeks. Then it worsened. He was put into induced coma and put on ECMO. And it's my dad. Like, I didn't care about anything. The first thing, I came back home. I put everything, plans on hold, like everything. Even though I had I had a job, I had an apartment, I had a car in Dubai, like everything, And I was just like, okay, I need time off because there's things happening in my family, and I need to be there. And when I was here in Lithuania, it didn't take long. He was in the hospital that I was treated, where my cardiologist was since the beginning. And so basically I admitted myself to the hospital, to the emergency, and here I am right now.
I know you skip a part, but
oh yeah. So so my dad spent in the ICU for about 5 months, and I spent in the hospital, in the same hospital, for about 2 months, and then 1 month in rehab. So on the day, and obviously before surgery, I went to see him before surgery.
Why was your dad in the hospital? Why was he in ICU?
Oh, pneumonia.
Okay.
So it was delayed, and nobody could help him. Like no medication or nothing. Like it's just crazy. And what happened that I went to see him just before my surgery. You know, I cried like a baby, and because I didn't know what's going on. Like my surgeon came because there's different buildings, different ICUs, and they all know each other, the doctors. So he came to me, and tomorrow I have a surgery, and he told me, listen, go to visit your dad, because they didn't let me visit because ICU is quite dangerous for the weaker patients due to the infections and everything. And he told me, go visit your dad. We'll let you. We're gonna give you a mask. We're gonna give you, gloves and everything what you need. And I was on that time. I was on IV, on Witamin. How you call it?
I don't think I know that one, but I use mildenosone, but I think yours is different.
This machine, which is like press.
Dopamine.
Yes. No, it's a little bit different. It's not
similar,
dopamine, but it's very similar. But it's similar, yeah. So basically, I was carrying this machine with me all the time on IV in the hospital, and of this medication is dopamine, but it's not really dopamine because anyway, it's a similar medication. And so my sister came with her husband. I was sat in a wheelchair. We all three went. I visited my dad. I cried like a baby. And the next day I had my surgery. I got some Xanax in the evening just to make sure I can sleep.
What surgery was that? Was this the LVAD one?
Yeah, the LVAD one. And I know he told me, my surgeon told me to go visit dad because he said that my dad is so weak that when I'm after the surgery, he might not be here anymore. So that was quite painful as well. And I was like, okay, well, I need to go to see him because I have no idea what's going to happen, next. And so I had my surgery. He was in induced coma. He was like sleeping. And then I had my complications and I was moved to the unit. And he actually got so active. He was woken up slowly. He was still on ECMO, but he was woken up slowly so he could talk to my mom. And my mom was staying with me in a different building because I needed a care after the surgery. And he was active. He was asking, about work, about the keys where he left. And my mom was so happy. It's like, oh my God, it actually might work well, and he might, just leave the ICU as quick as possible and recovery and everything. So it was really like very positive looking. And then after like 3 weeks, before me moving to the rehab, I did some couple of tests during the weekend, and Monday I had to move to Tuesday, I had to move to the rehab. And my surgeon came in at 7 a.m. and he's like, you okay? You ready to move to rehab? I was like, of course. It's like, is everything okay? Can I already move, leave the hospital? And he was like, yeah, you can go, just get ready. The car will come and pick you up like in a couple of hours. So at 7 a.m., I'm calling my mom. No, I'm calling my sister because my sister lives in Vilnius. I'm calling my sister and I'm just like, that's it. Because I was really waiting for rehab because I knew that after a couple of weeks, after 1 month actually, I will be home, that I'm healing, I'm changing the surroundings, the food will be changing, I will have the massages and stuff. And I was so happy and delighted that finally, it's moving forward. And my sister wasn't really talking to me. She was like, okay, that's good. And I asked her if she can come and just help me pack because I had a lot of things with me and I had all the LVAD gear with me, which I needed to take with me. So I needed some support. So I called my mom and I was like, oh, again happy to share the news that, you know, finally I'm moving to rehab and etc. And my mom was just quiet. She was quiet. And I was just like, that's weird. Like, I'm happy I'm sharing good news, you know, with you. Why are you not happy? And
Yeah.
my mom's three first words were like, Dad has passed away today in the morning. And I was just like, well, that's supposed to be my happy day, you know, and it just very quickly turned into worst day of my life. And yeah, so my sister came. My sister couldn't even tell me. That's why she was so quiet,
Yeah.
because she couldn't tell me. My mom had to tell me, but she was in Chole, which is 2 hours drive. So she was at 7 a.m. She was already going to the train station, like literally to come to Vilnius and help sort everything out. So my sister came and my doctors came in, and I remember the nurse came in, and I'm just crying. I'm sitting on the bed. I'm like half naked, you know. I need to dress up, like put my socks on, my shoes on, you know, the hat because it was winter time. I'm just, you know, with a hospital t-shirt. I'm just sitting there and I'm crying like a baby. And then nurse comes in and she was like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'd be like, "My dad." And she was like, "Yeah, he will be okay," because they didn't know, because they shifted, you know, the staff
Oh,
shifted at
yeah.
that time, I think like hour ago or something. "Oh, don't worry, he will be okay, you know, he's in a good care." And I just look at her, "No, he just passed away." And she was like, quickly
Yeah.
returned back, or of course told all the units,
Yeah.
because all the team was there. It's a Tuesday morning. It's a busy day, you know.
Because you guys become family over time. You know, those nurses and the staff, they're really important, and they take a lot of your feelings. So I'm sure they were also heartbroken for you.
It's I don't know. It's just they're probably the best team I ever known and I had, and I have most respect not only to the surgeons but to the nurses and to the staff. I mean, some people are so rude to them. Some
Yeah.
patients, the older patients. But then, you know, we just sometimes if we were bored, we just sit somewhere in the corridor. You know, there's no action, like in the evening, like later evening, 9 p.m. or something, and we just talk. And there are they people have their own lives, you know,
Yeah.
and go and help every day, every day, every day. So yeah, so basically my leaving to rehab was worse, and I had my team coming over to just, you know, say um, you know, the words to me, the last words. I mean, before leaving and supporting me as much as they can. And I moved to rehab. I was devastated because I was too weak to go to the funeral. I couldn't even walk. That was when I was actually started working, when I moved to rehab, because I was in bed most of the time for 2 months. Yeah, most of the time for 2 months. So, you know, my muscles were out. My weight has dropped. Like I wasn't eating any, like standard things, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so now I am here.
It's that's that's a lot of emotions to feel in a very short period. You know, you're diagnosed in Dubai, coming back home, feeling a bit better, and then going back, and then coming back, and then losing your dad, getting the LVAD. It's a lot at the same time. I even figured how you know, it sounds like you got a lot of support from your dad primarily. So this is your core support, you know, losing your core support, even though the rest of the family is there. So that's a lot to process and a lot to manage over a short time. And I'm probably going to ask this one question before we move to I figure we'll take a short, lighter break and go onto your Instagram. But before we do that, I wanted to know, when did the transition start after that? When did the transition after that? Like how, after the losing your dad, the burial and everything, when did you start going back to rehab, and how was the rehab when did you start feeling better during the rehab process?
I would say after good 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first 6 months was terrible. Not terrible in a way, like because I really got active, you know, that's why I would say if in heart disease, you have to exercise.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to go run like 40 kilometers, you know, or something, or lift weights. No, you have to exercise because the endurance, like, is everything.
Yeah.
Physical activity is everything. And
So you say you have to exercise, but consistently and then in a small amount, like do the right thing type of thing.
yes, because when I start, and I remember now after the surgery, even after the surgery which I had in September, which is a different surgery, um, my doctors, my team, they always say, walk, walk. I said, I'm weak, I'm pain, like I'm in pain. Walk. You need to walk. You need to walk, and that's it. And I didn't understand why they're saying this. It's like, you're a patient, you're allowed to lay in bed and do nothing. And that's not true, because as soon as you start working, the
Yeah.
healing process just accelerates straight away.
Yeah.
And when I was in rehab, I had to go for a walk outside and in a forest, and it was amazing, and I was enjoying it. And as much as I was walking, I gained the strength.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, my my things, I had to unpack my things, you know, properly. I had to settle myself, you know. It's just, you know, being after hospital, home, having a first shower.
So who was cooking for you?
Mom was cooking for me all the time because I
Yeah.
was staying with my mom, because, you know, we had a big house, and my mom was feeling really lonely at that time, and I needed support at the same time. So we were staying together, and my mom was supporting me and I was supporting her. And so, yeah, it took me 6 good months to return back to,
To normal, to wealth,
not to
to get back
normal,
to
but
active. Yeah.
like to be active, not to feel pain. And
Yeah.
then after, I think, 7 months, I had my first trip abroad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Ireland.
So you just couldn't be held down. You just have to keep moving.
It looks like that. I don't know. It's just because after the surgery, you know, when I was getting better and better, I was invited to be to manage the Lithuanian Heart Failure Association, the patient association.
Okay.
And you know, they saw me, and I said, when I was in the hospital with my doctors, be like, I want to share my story, because I know I needed the information. I needed to meet the people who are living with a transplant, who are living with the LVADs. And what would I do? I'd be like, in Instagram, hashtag LVAD, hashtag LVAD, just searching what pictures I will have. And
Yeah.
then obviously, you know, seeing that the people are living a normal life, they are young, they are older, they are happy, they have families, they are everywhere in the world. And I was like, okay, that shouldn't be so bad, because I didn't know that. And
Yeah.
for me, it was important, especially in Lithuania. People are not people, like the patients, they don't want to share their stories.
Yeah.
They don't want of, you know, what other people would think, what,
It,
you know,
it's a lot of
workload.
unknowns and a lot of stigma and but that to your point, I really find hearing from other people's story really gave me a lot of hope. And to your point, when you see somebody trying, you know, even if they're not doing it, at least they're trying. It makes you also want to try,
Exactly.
and that's very powerful. And I think you're doing much of that with your, you know, with what you're sharing with the world. And I'm amazed at your, because we you remember we said we can share some of your pictures, and I was thinking you have like 1,000 pictures. It's like, where do we start?
No.
uh, but
Oh, yeah, that with Instagram is different story, because I used to have a lot of followers, and I had Instagram when I moved to Dubai, so I was posting very active on, you know, what I was doing and everything. And then my head just got crazy, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna delete it. So I deleted everyone.
you remove people, why?
I removed all the people who followed me. I privated my account. because basically I wanted to keep the pictures as the memories because I didn't have any pictures saved with me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and then I was like, being with myself for so long in a hospital day and night, and I would be like, I created even another Instagram and started posting there as a new journey, as me living with the LVAD and going through the heart disease and everything. And I was just like, that doesn't make sense. People actually need to see that I was living a normal life. I
Yeah.
was active, I was traveling. And then I had to go through the process of, losing everything, um, getting the diagnosis, now in the future, getting the transplant and going forward. So yeah, so I renewed it and here we go. You
I'm
can
so
see
glad.
my
I mean,
journey.
because it's a and the way I saw it is like you have everything, right? So if you spend time on it, you will see those times where like you're not doing well, and then another time like you maintenance get you living life like having fun times, and there are times with your family, and then there are times like this where you remind us of what you're going through with the LVAD over here, um, which is amazing. And so for me that was that was very important. And I think this one is also like last year summer when I think when was what was happening here, you were doing a
That that was
checkup.
that was the complication which I had in internal bleeding.
Yeah, what was the complication?
So I didn't know that I had a 10 centimeter ovarian cyst, and I started feeling a crazy pain in the lower part of my belly, and then my hemoglobin was dropping like every hour.
Yeah.
And basically, I went to the emergency. My surgeon, who actually implanted the LVAD, he was working that night. So they thought it's only infection, but after, well, it's strangely enough, as they looked at me, they thought it's a pregnancy, but it wasn't a pregnancy. Obviously, it was a cyst which ruptured and caused an internal bleeding, and it was painful. It was really bad. And strangely enough, the same, not the same, but when I had surgery, and I was let go, just go home and get better. After 3 weeks post surgery, the cyst has renewed. So then doctors told me, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't lift, you can't have a hot shower, you can't exercise, you can't have massages, you can't stretch your lower back. Like I couldn't do anything. And that's when my quality of life and my emotional health went down.
And how did you recover from that? Like, what did you do? What are some of the things you did to come back? Like, what was, because you feel you look like you're doing fairly well now, and you're active again. You're writing a book. You're doing a lot of things. So, what are some of the learning you had to go through? What are some of the activities that were helpful to you, and physically and mentally and even spiritually? Because I think that's one of the things that really is a challenge for most of us. You go through a place where you're demotivated, so getting motivated again and time again. So you go through being talking about, people talk about a lot about resilience, but I think what it end up being is something I learned this year actually is anti-fragility. Because it's like resilience is one thing when you can absorb shock, but being able to absorb shock after time and time again is anti-fragility. And it comes to a lot of things, habits, this and that. But what are some of those tools that you have practiced or you have learned along the way that you think has been helpful, and maybe others can try to?
I for the past like what 4 months, it's been such a spiritual roller coaster for me in all ways that I cannot even. I have no words to express it, but I wanted it because before the new year, the last new year, I said to myself like, I want to work with myself. I want to look within, and I want to clear the blocks which are not suiting me anymore. I want to, because I know I have changed so much, even the last year, summer, and now I'm completely different person. And, I just had to say it loud, and it manifested. I had people like coming to me. I was introduced into the courses, a 1-year course of self-development spiritually, with the practices of breathing, with the practices of yoga, and all the things, the astrology and etc. And I'm so happy about it, because that's what I wanted. To the point that I had someone introduce me with a man who lives in the Andes in Peru.
Yeah.
And he's no healer. He's no man, no medium or anything. He just talks about his experience. He talks about how he saved people's lives, and it affects you in a way. The simple things and changes that you can do in life, and brings such an amazing experiences.
Yeah.
And with his help, and with his courses which I'm taking, and through the life changes for the past couple of months and situations which I had, I realized a lot of things, and I definitely changed in a way. But the thing is that what helped me most, and what I am happy about, that I really listen to my body. And everywhere I go, like, for example, since the LVAD surgery, because previously I wasn't eating any meat.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
because I had, I had problems with hemoglobin, with anemia, and it was LVAD, and again, low hemoglobin.
Yeah.
My doctor suggested eat meat, as much possible, because you need it. And I was just
Yeah.
like, okay. And what happened? Every time, like every 2 months or 3 months, I would get an IV, because my hemoglobin would just go completely down all the time.
Yeah. So the meat was not helping.
Exactly. So now, since the beginning of, like, from the January, first January month was a cleanse month for me.
Yeah.
But not only the body cleanse, home cleanse, the wardrobe cleanse, the pictures, the computer desktop cleanse, the schedule cleanse, the calendar, the work, like everything.
So you rebuild your whole life.
But I did, but it came intention. Like, I wanted to do that. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So in January, I was basically no meat, minimum dairy, like eggs. I eat eggs and cheese, which I like. So basically all the veggies, fruits, and grains and seeds, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I survived, and I did the detox for my colon as well. And I'm happy with the results and how I feel. And I actually, since then, I don't eat any meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my hemoglobin is perfectly fine.
That's
It's
amazing.
normal.
It's like there's no textbook for the body, and everybody is different.
Exactly.
I wanted to just
You're cutting off. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Is it okay? Let's try again. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying your story affected a lot of people, but you also connected with a lot of people online. Whom is me. And I remember one day we couldn't find you on the internet on Instagram. Like, we were trying to reach you, and we couldn't find you. And then I reached out to Melanie reached out to me, and I was like, wait, yeah, it's true. I've been trying to reach out to her. She couldn't, we couldn't get her. She was scared for you, and I was so amazed by that. I was like, it's amazing. I'm sure you never met. I'm sure it's like how you connect. And she probably was not doing very well health wise, but she was more worried for you, and that was, to me, that was very special. But Melanie herself is here, so I allow her to say anything about that.
I did. I panicked. I
Yeah.
was because you've really helped me a lot this past year, from clothes wearing to. I mean, you told me about things about the LVAD that my team never told me, and I really appreciated that. And you seem, obviously you seem so strong. And then when you disappeared on Instagram, I was like, oh my God, something terrible's happened. And I started trying to find if you was okay. And
But you sent me an email.
yeah, but before that, I spoke to him.
I was like, how do you know my email? She just sent me an email. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
No, you. I don't know how you contacted me and you said this. Oh no, I know. I found it on the blog thing on your blog.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I'm an investigator. I'm a private investigator.
It worked. That was special, I think, because to me, that's, what it's really about. And, sometimes you have those relationships and then, you support each other, and then you guys are living lives. And to me, that was really special because, we're out there, we don't see these things, but sharing your story is really impactful, to the beginning of your thing. And then making friends, making community along the way is even more impactful. And I think, to me, that's it. That was my biggest gain out of this. The support you get from everybody.
Our stories are really similar, aren't they? Our stories. I mean, we had my LVAD was in September 2018.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, and I know that we connected as well quite quickly.
How did you guys connect? Like, how did you?
Instagram. Yeah. It took me a year before I went on to Instagram to talk about anything to do with LVAD or transplants. My team encouraged me to reach out, but I wasn't in the right place. I wanted to do the journey myself. Yeah. But then I got to a point. Most of them were men as well, so I found it hard to find a lady. And I found you, and I think we started private messaging one another, showing each other how we wear our LVADs and stuff, and just I mean, even with your dermoid cyst, I had a hysterectomy a year before the LVAD due to a dermoid cyst that they were worried about was going to burst. So that's how I had the hysterectomy, and then when you went through that, I was like, oh my God, that could have easily happened to me if I didn't get the hysterectomy before the LVAD. I lost my dad on the day I got discharged from hospital with my LVAD as well. It just was so similar. Our stories were so similar, and I think that's why the connection was even stronger there.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like when you think about it, like that every story for the patient is so unique. But then look, we always find the ways. And for me as well, I know there's a lot of men. Like most of the LVAD patients in Lithuania are men. Now, everything is fine. Like, I don't have anything wrong. But talking with the lady is completely different because, you have different issues. You have different issues with like female organs, and you have different issues. Like, thank God Melanie has 2 children. But for me, and yesterday I was talking with a professor because I was filming a TV show for the Heart Failure Week in May. And I was talking exactly about the same. It would be like the guys with the LVAD, they can actually have a baby, because there is a guy as well in the States who actually has a baby now.
Yeah, we got pregnant after 1 year after I got the LVAD, so and they were with twins, and that's definitely a good point. But I know to the other side, it's been very. I know a lot of women that have been, even wondering how to have. They're still struggling, about how to have intercourse with their partners and stuff. Not necessarily because they don't want to or they're sick, but like even on the partner side, where they've many reasons. So those are things that are even very hard to talk about, but we probably won't find the right word. Even if a lot of men are sharing their story, they probably, I don't think we show a lot of real things that are happening. It's usually, oh, I'm running, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, it's very rarely you see somebody really breaking down or anything like that. But, or not whining, just being really vulnerable. But I think that's changing now slowly.
But that's okay, you know, and I think this is our mission in a sense, you know. It's okay. Like, if I'm telling my story, it doesn't mean that, you know, I need a pity from everyone else. I'm okay. I'm okay where I am. I'm sharing because I want the people to wake up and not be paying the attention to the money, to the work and everything. Health is the most important thing. And that's what I want to show. You can have everything. Like the disease or illness, it doesn't look how much money you have in your bank account, what car are you driving, or what clothes do you wear, you know, the gender or like the religion or anything.
Health is wealth.
Yeah, it will attack you from the back, and you know, you have no idea what can happen. And that's really, really an important thing. And I think us talking about the things that we went through is really inspiring. And at the same time, I hope that not only the patients, but the society could actually learn something from my story and take something from it, you know. Maybe you know, do some changes in the lifestyle, you know, maybe do some changes or restructure the schedule, or maybe finding something deeper in the meaning, or you know, doing and helping others. So just something, you know, paying attention to their health, to their symptoms, to their family history, that which is very important. I didn't even know my family history and what illnesses we had, because I was 30 years old, you know. I didn't care about it. I thought that wouldn't happen to me, but look.
But I feel like living really started after I was diagnosed. Like once they told me, oh, you have a heart condition that has no cure, I felt like that's when I started living, because, you know, obviously you say health is very important, but I had to really think about the meaning of success in general, like for myself, the meaning of happiness. Like right now, my goal in life, I tell people like the goal in life is to be successful, is to do this, to the goal in life to be happy. You know, that's the first thing. And then that happiness means something different for everybody. But like those things is like very hard. Like how do you measure success? How do you measure happiness? But like half the time, you're not even present where you're living. And I think the two of you really embodies that, and you show me that, and in different forms, but you really like are the testimony of that. And you know, look at you going through all of this and then still being happy and still willing to share and still willing to reach out to others and meaning good for others, because I feel like you don't want this to happen to anyone else. And you're putting the time into it, and that's very important. So I just wanted to commend you both on that. And then I talked to a lot of people, but these two calls have been special for that reason. You know, like the positivity, the will to live is really, I can feel it. And then the happiness, you can see it. And then some of the practical ways you go about it. Melanie was telling us about how she's a homemaker, and she makes sure everything is clean in the house. She moves things around. And I'm sure that's a lot of fun. And it seems like you guys might make a good team someday. In person.
We actually, when the COVID will pass, or if it's going to pass, then we will meet with Melanie and go for a coffee somewhere in London.
I love it.
Sounds like a plan.
You might change your mind about Toronto and make it London.
Well, I lived in London before. I lived in London before, so yeah.
So hopefully Melanie will change your mind.
No, I want to go to Lithuania now, though, seeing all your pictures.
Yeah, please.
It's beautiful.
Me too. We definitely trading places. It's definitely on my list.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I love. You know, we do create, and in a sense, a community, and we do keep a relationship. And I have a lot of people, you know, on Instagram, which I found in different countries, which I talk to. We exchange the numbers. We talk on WhatsApp. You know, if we want something to ask quickly, and it's really nice. And as you say, like. When I was off my social media detox, it really happens, because that happened to me. And it happened to me with a lady who was living in Bahrain. Uh, she was waiting for the heart transplant until the last minute, and then they admitted her to the hospital, and she was supposed to have an LVAD in Qatar, I think. And basically she messaged me a day, like in the evening before the surgery, next day, and then I didn't hear from her for like a week. And thank God that I had her husband followed me as well.
Yeah.
And because obviously I was talking to her because I lived in Dubai as well, so I'm kind of familiar with everything in their ends in terms of religion and how it works there, is social security and, you know, everything, the medical. And I was so scared, and I actually messaged her, and she didn't reply for me like 2 days. And I thought, okay, well, maybe, you know, you never know, you can be weak and stuff. And I know myself, I still have the messages which I was sending to my mom when I was woken up after the surgery. I can't even understand. So I'm not sure what mom could understand from my mess. Like, it was just a mess. I couldn't even speak properly because it was just crazy. And so I connected to her husband, and basically he told me that she passed on the surgery. Not on the surgery, I think before surgery. Like just an hours before the surgery. She didn't even, her heart was so weak. It was too weak. And she was such a beautiful woman, had a family and, you know, kids and everything. But they're very religious, so they are in a positive way of, like, you know, it was time for her, and, you know, her journey is continuing there somewhere, not in the physical world. And, you know, it's nice, positive, but it's really devastating to know that, you know, someone is disappearing because you have no idea what can happen. And I think our goal could be definitely, you know, just to get tight with this community and somehow connect and talk and share. And because I've found a lot of friends, to be honest, through my heart journey. I found real friends, and I'm so happy about it. I think, Melanie, if you want to say something, your microphone is off.
Sorry, yeah, I messaged you on the way to the hospital when I got the transplant call in November in the back of the ambulance. So don't worry, I'm going in for a heart transplant. If you don't hear anything.
No, I'm not worried. No, not at all. What? No, it's crazy, but yeah, it's good to have. I think me and Melanie, we clicked off because we are both in Europe.
Yeah.
Because I understand that, like, and I could see in the groups, in the LVAD groups and transplant groups on Facebook, for example, that it is a little bit different US rather than like how they work, the processes and etc., the waiting lines and all the stuff, you know. So me, and especially I lived in London before, so, you know, kind of like, you know the things already. So went off is just like best friend.
It keeps you going, and I like the advice and people sharing notes. It's really amazing.
Well, you've inspired me though. You have, because you're manifesting when I worry about my daughter who's got the genetic gene for this disease, and just listening to you and your story that you tell me about your mum and you, I now listen to you and I'm portraying the way I am with her differently, and that's through listening to you and listening to your experience. So you've inspired me a lot through this journey.
That's amazing to hear. I love it. I think you and this is just amazing. This is the story.
So how are you doing? Tell me. How
me?
Yeah, both of you.
Yeah, Melanie goes first.
I had a rough couple of weeks with fluid build up, and I went in and they gave me diuretics and an iron infusion. I seem to have a bad reaction to iron infusions. I'm really, really violently sick with migraines, but that's okay now. But the diuretics were causing lots of low blood pressure, and I'm on 1.5 litres of fluid now from 2.5 litres. But they were worried that the right side of the heart was deteriorating, so I had a right heart catheter, and the pressure still looked really good. So I've got an appointment next Tuesday just to see how things are going, but they're much better. No swollen ankles, the abdomen's gone down, the blood pressure's going back up again. So hopefully it was just a blip, and things will stay stable again for a little while. But other than that, fine. Both my oldest daughter's got a heart scan on Monday just to check, and then the younger one's got one the following week, just to check her heart as well. They get scanned every few months, so that's always nerve-wracking. But other than that, just carrying on, cleaning.
You're doing a good thing, you know. Like through your journey, you know what can happen. For example, for your daughters. So it's very important to highlight that, you know, always check and do everything, the prevention of a heart disease, you know. So I think they seeing you as a mom going through your journey, they can be inspired to pay attention and take care of their health more as well. So, you know, if you do the regular checkups for the heart, and it can be detected pretty early, you can still recover your heart. Because if you diagnose too late, what's happening now during the COVID, that the patients, they're scared to go to the hospitals and they suffer at home because the doctors say, like, don't go anywhere, stay home because you can get COVID. And people, of course, they don't want to get COVID. But if they have the symptoms, like from the second stage of heart failure going to the 4th stage, right? Then that's it. Nothing can help you apart from transplant. So it's very important to, you know, go for the regular checkups, and in case there is a sign that it can develop to a heart failure at some point, then, you know, you can sort of straight away give like some treatment, a medication treatment or others. Just block that way to going worse in the future. Because my diagnosis it wasn't misdiagnosed, it was missed diagnosis. Like I would go to the hospital and they would look at me and be like, oh no, it can't be hard. No, it's impossible. So I get the treatment for the symptoms, you know. And even though I had a problem with the heart, like I'm not a big person in my chest and ribs, but my heart was like, if you see the pictures on my Instagram, my heart was like taking, I don't know, the biggest part of the ribs and my inside. It's crazy. Even the doctors would do the echo and look at my face and do the echo and look at the screen with my heart. And they were like, that was the doctor in Lithuania. And she would be like, I'm sorry, I have to invite more doctors to look at this because this is so unusual. I was like, okay, it's fine. So then there's like 10 doctors coming in and be like, look at the person, she's so pretty and her cheeks are red. And then look at her heart. How is this possible? Like
it's the case they don't have usually, and usually, you know, younger people might die or something without being diagnosed. So there's like the number of data. So if you're in certain places, like I'm in Boston now, they see all the cases because everybody comes to them. So they have more example, more data example. But I think one thing we're doing through sharing the story, even the doctors get to learn that, okay, there might be somebody who looks all right, or I had all the numbers, but can I have heart failure? Because the heart failure, I mean, we don't know it yet. And that's, I think it's very humbling for a lot of doctors. And also in terms of treatment, I was diagnosed, but some cases, people were giving me the lower dose instead of giving me higher dose. So then, you know, I'll be all right, but not gonna be good. So I go to one doctor, he's like, they gave you the wrong dose and dosage, and it just doubled. Actually, he put me on IV, and then 2 weeks or a week, actually, I was definitely like just feeling better already. So those are, I think it's important. That's something some people can take from this story. But it's the regular checkup is really important. I think, prevention is always better and it makes it easier to manage. But I think what Melanie forgot to add is that her job is to worry. She really worries a lot. So
worries a lot, yeah. She worries too much.
I know.
And you have to take control. What's happening? You can't be scared all the time.
I'm not scared ever for myself. It's always for other people.
For other people, yeah.
But that's what keeps it going.
It's my upbringing. It was just my upbringing. I grew up without a dad around, and I was always the one taking care of everyone as a young child. And it's part of me when I get my heart transplant, if I get my heart transplant, or when I get my heart transplant, is that I want to put myself first for a while and do the things that I want to do.
Why don't you practice before your heart comes in? Because once your heart comes in, that will be a different journey. So maybe start now. You have the habit before your heart, and you don't have to stop worrying, which is not a bad thing. But to your point, you have to also worry about yourself. You have to love others, but you have to love yourself first, and because that will bring out the best in you. And I mean, I'm not preaching, but that's what I also had to learn along the way.
It's absolutely the same. It's just like, thinking positively. I know, like, being scared of other people is just not like being scared, but like, oh, maybe that will happen. Like, thinking the worst case scenario is not healthy for yourself. Like, if I'm thinking the worst case scenario about all the other people around, it's gonna be crazy. So it's really like focusing on, trusting that everything is all right. I know it's easy to say, but it's such a hard work within yourself to trust it that, everything, it is how it should be. Me being in this place, Boa being in this place, you being in this place, and all the other patients and all the other people being in different diseases, people living in Israel, or people living in I don't know, in Antarctica, somewhere. Like, we are here for a reason, and there's no like there's a saying, God makes no mistakes. So I think that says it all. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm a believer of a God, and there's a man sitting up there and he's white or whatever, it's just bullshit. But I'm just believing that the bigger power, which is upon the universe, or God, as you can say, like different religions, they have different names, and there's no mistakes. That's the only thing that you need to understand. It's just your perception, how you view everything around you, and what can you do with it. Obviously, take the best out of it. Even if you're going through the worst experience, you still see the positive, good things, like I did. I wouldn't be here right now with you if not my journey, which I went through, if not that heart failure, which I went through, and so many other things which I found within those 3 years. It's crazy, and I'm grateful, and I'm happy that it happened to me. I know it sounds really crazy, like, in a sense, but wow. Like, I wouldn't be here. My point of view changed, my values changed, as you said as well. It's just the different things that understanding what is success for me, what I want in life. I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy and do the things that I love. That's it.
Amen.
That would have been a perfect ending. But I think I want to have one more question, and then we'll wrap up. So maybe both of you can answer this, but I think you mentioned books at some point, like doing readings and stuff. So if you guys were to advise, to suggest a book, one book or two books, what would those be?
I can't tell you. I don't even, I know I have books behind me, but most of them are Lithuanian. Oh, actually, you're gonna like one. I haven't read that one yet. Okay, so there is a story with this book. I haven't read it yet, but we had a library at my old home, and so I have a book from Canada which was sent because I mentioned you I have a family from Canada, and this book was sent to my dad, and it says How to Be Happy No Matter What Happens by Dr. Joe Hall.
Great. Show, yeah.
This
Oh,
book
wow.
is 100 years old.
Wow.
I wanna get that.
It's crazy because you know, like old times there were no English books in Lithuania, and because our family, half of the family were in Toronto, they actually sent an English book to my dad, and my dad was trying to learn English, so he actually you know, this is How to Be Happy, and he tried to translate it with the dictionary that we had, and these words is just, you know, he wrote over here like, what it can mean. You know, he obviously got his book, he didn't understand what it mean, but when I was going through the library and we were getting rid of all the books, just not getting rid, but we donated them. We gave it to the people. We gave it to the libraries. I was going through this book, and I was like, I'm gonna take this book, and I noticed that How to Be Happy. So I still need to read it, but I'm, you know, I'm really saving it because it's 100 years old. And in terms of other books, there are a lot of good books, you know. I can't really tell you one book or another is good. I read in English and Lithuanian. I do love the psychological books of, like, you know, self-learning books. I saw the comments saying The Alchemist, yes. Yeah, there are so many good books, but I like to go more a little bit spiritual, deeper, about the brain, about the energies, how it works, about the psychology and power of the mind. And I have one book which is a Russian book, but it's translated into Lithuanian. I have no idea if there is a version of it in English, but it's basically, it says love your illness, and it's about all the process, not the process, but about how we, with the belief system and with the thoughts, we create the illnesses, and what each illness means in terms of what thoughts and we generate and what beliefs we might have. So it's really great. Like, there's a lot of good books, don't get me wrong, and you know,
I think those are two good suggestions.
Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, which one?
Joe Dispenza.
No, I think I have the name, but I don't. Oh yeah, okay.
It's a regular standard book, but as well, it's a good book, you know, about showing you how the brain work and how the thoughts work. Like, even you know, if you have two plants and one plant you say, I hate you, I don't like you, I don't love you, you this, you horrible, and then the next plant, the plant next to it, you say, oh, you're so beautiful, and you're gonna see that plant will die, which had a bad negative thoughts towards it. So it's crazy.
That's important. It makes me think of a story of the old Indian that had two dogs. You know, one it was feeding, the other one wasn't feeding, and then he knew which one would win in a fight, so he knew that. I like it. Thank you. Oh, Odile says she talks to a plant. So one day when I have to have Odile talk to us, she's always in the back, but one day she's gonna talk to us.
Yay!
Thank you so much. I think, she'll be a great conversation. Trust me, she'll be special. We're gonna have music. She's a DJ too. I listen to her music when I'm working.
Yes.
I'll share a link with you.
That's actually, my goal is to learn how to DJ.
Oh my God! Okay, you got a coach here.
Which I still need to complete.
Yeah, no. I'll share her links now. She has a website. You can check it out. Before I forget, what is this?
Thank you.
There we go.
She's in France, you said, no?
She's in France. Yeah, she's in France.
Oh, Oh, nice.
Hi, Melanie. We need some picture for. Oh, sorry. We need some book recommendation from you.
The Bible.
The Bible.
The Bible. Which one? There's a few versions.
I don't know. I lived in Israel for a while, so
Okay.
I've got the Torah and the
Yeah.
Bible. I go for every religion. There's
Yeah.
goodness in every religion, and that's how I like to be. Spread it around the diversity in religion. So
Yeah.
I like
Timeless wisdom. That I love. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Diversity in
much.
religion.
What's your book?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes, of course you.
I have many books at a time. So right now, I'm reading a book. I'm very big about, I guess, self-development, a lot of biographies and things like that. But right now, I'm reading a book about innovation and technology. So it's like why people resist innovation. And then it was professor. He was a professor I knew, and then he wrote a book about. So he put a bunch of anecdotes together from, let's say, how long it took people to adopt coffee. Like now everybody eats coffee, drinks coffee, everybody loves it. But then it tells you the story about how it came from Ethiopia all the way to through the Middle East, all the way to Europe and America. But for instance, talking about London, when he got to London, people were not happy because they preferred the tea. So there was a lot of resistance to it. But over centuries, people adopted now. But also, it only grew in the Middle East, and they were hiding the grain and stuff. So the technology around that, that's some fascinating story. It talks about the music, how now music is licensed. Before, music was only banned in a band. It talked about genetic modification. So that's like my technical side. Another book I'm reading is called Pro-Social, which is about using, I guess, psychology, evolutionary sciences to see how people come together to build something bigger or to work together. So pro-social, in a sense, for instance, like with love and compassion, we can find a cure to a lot of diseases, a lot of situations without competing. Competition is natural, but as human beings, the reason we are alive and we stay here, we still exist, is because we collaborate in groups and families and communities and stuff. So those are the two I have on my hand. But I listen to a lot of audiobooks too. So there's a book now about James Baldwin talking about meeting the man and stuff. So, and just before that, I finished one about, it's called Hood Feminism. I'll share this separately, but it's called Hood Feminism. That was like the Black feminist movement. And there was another one about eloquent rage. So yeah, but those are a lot of stuff. So we'll share that definitely. I'll share it. We should write an article together. We'll write an article together about it.
You can just put the post like or something, because when you ask, especially me, if you ask something quickly, I will be like, I need a minute. But we can always give the recommendations of what to read or favorite books, because when you go through the process through life, there are things that interest us at a certain point, right? And then I have this good book in that place around this theme, and then another book in that theme. So yeah, I would love to share, just
definitely. I like both. I like the spontaneous part because that's that comes in, and then when you reflect. So we're gonna do both. We're gonna write an article, and I will share. We can just share our book recommendation, and to your point, when and what it meant to you, like a virtual book club, and then we'll see from there on.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
All right.
I love it. So create the Elvad Patience Book Club.
There you go.
Worldwide.
The International Book Club. We're gonna. That's an idea. We'll think about it, but we can do that. Thank you so much. I think it was excellent. It was great as usual. Enough. Like I tell every time, we're gonna have more follow-up questions. We're gonna come back, and then the idea is to share this with everybody. But thanks for sharing your story. And what I will do now is give you the last word. Probably Melanie will go first, and then you can close it up for us. Hi, Melanie. You can give us your parting words, and then we'll let Aiste finish it up.
Just stay safe, guys, and hopefully we can catch up again soon. And one of us might have a transplant by then.
Hopefully.
We will have. That's no question.
Okay, you take care.
Thank you. Thank
very
you so much.
Thank you.
So yeah, and from my
Are
side,
you-
I would just say that, you know, for any patient and just the society in general, take care of your health and not the physical health. And that's why I try to highlight in the past couple of posts which I was shared on my blog and Instagram. It's just like, don't forget your emotional health, because it is really important. And you know, we all need to help ourselves in a way. So by sharing something, by speaking to certain people or speaking to professionals, we can really just, you know, help ourselves. Because if we are in a bad state with our emotional health, then, you know, it will stop the healing of the physical healing. So it's very important. And go check your heart.
Go get your heart checked. Thank you so much. I like what you're saying. You know, get checked. Look at your everything holistically. You know, not just the physical, but everything emotional, mental, spiritual. So thank you so much. This is a great message. I'm really happy that you share with us, and I really hope that, you know, my wish is for you to have a great heart transplant, successful, no complication, and that you make your move to Toronto. You know, I feel like that's a great goal to have, and Toronto is definitely a beautiful place. So we'll pray for you. Just stop in between for us. Come say hi to us on your way there.
Of course, I will, definitely. When I'm good to travel, I will definitely go visit everyone and come back to the traveling. It's important to me. It's just so amazing to be able to travel, and it's good. It's a joy for me.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking us to Lithuania and back. You know, you made us learn about the world and beyond. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This was Aiste from Lithuania. We just had a great chat. And the message was very poignant, talking about, you know, really fighting to live, inspirational, looking after yourself, getting checked regularly, and looking at your body and your health, but very importantly, doing it in a holistic manner. So not just the physical part. Look after your emotional part, look after your mental part, and then look after your spiritual part. And it's somebody that's really full of life, very strong in terms of the will of living. So I got inspired with the conversation, and I really look forward to the next ones. But I wanted to say thank you, and thanks everybody.